Yeah, some days I feel unfazed, like when I'm with my friends with a cup raised. Come Monday, I got a gun raised, suicidal do or die until hump day. Then I go right back at it like an automatic. More drinks, more songs, more beats to rap. I need a shrink, I'm gone, more time keeps passing. No watch, no thoughts at all, just a hat, new era. Rep my P's and those O's, need a Phillies with the orange and black to feel home. From Citizens Bank back to Camden Yards, it's a tale of two cities, and trust we go hard. Trust we go hard, yes we go hard. You said we go hard, I said we go hard. Rockin' my Bob Cousy, stocking up on the loose. The lyrics come easy, but the life is a doozy. And yes, I'm choosy, and no, I won't settle, but I still take pop off over that kettle, cause I'm talking bigger picture. And yes, I'm gonna hit you with the...
If you've seen my paddock bashing video, you'll know that paddock bashing is the world's greatest motorsport. But the topic of today's video is something so beautiful it can only be classed as an art form. Now, assuming that you're smart enough to be able to read the title of this video, you'll know that that art form is hooning. Now, it's highly likely that if you clicked on this video, there's one question that you won't be asking. And that question is, what is hooning? As I mentioned before, hooning is an art form. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll be familiar with the top 5 greatest motorsports. You may have been surprised to see that hooning only came in 3rd on that list, but there's a good reason why. While paddock bashing may be the greatest motorsport, hooning is the greatest art form. To the millions of people watching out there who aren't from Australia, what you might not know is that hooning is an Australian mating ritual. In the same way that a peacock uses his colourful feathers to attract a female, us Australians take our AU Falcon down Chapel Street on a Saturday night, rip a fat skid, and before you know it, you'll be married with kids. Hooning consists of a few simple driving techniques, those being the burnout, drifting, speeding, tip-ins, and typical legend driving. Now that you know what hooning is, we'll get into the type of people that participate in these activities. Number 1, of course, is P-platers. Equipped with their AU Falcon and mandatory welded diff, it's common knowledge that 90% of hoons are P-platers. But while P-platers make up the majority of the hoons, hooning is a very inclusive sport, which means everyone and anyone are welcome to participate. The 10% of hoons that aren't P-platers are tradies with their 2x4 manual Hilux, the elderly who you'll often spot in an old Skyline or Silvia, who most of the time have no idea how much money their car is worth, newborns who are often in battery powered buggies from Kmart, and just about anyone else with a lead foot and enough skill to get their car sideways. Now, any good art form has its own location. They have stages for ballet, galleries for photography and paintings, and of course YouTube for watching my videos. But while most of these art forms only have one place where you can go to appreciate them, hooning is completely different. While 99.999% of hooning is done on private properties, the remaining 0.01% is done in places such as Mexico, the local industrial estate, Chapel Street, your backyard, your neighbour's backyard, your enemy's front driveway, any public sporting ovals, and depending on the size of your balls, anywhere that you please. But unlike any of the topics or motorsports that I've mentioned in previous videos, hooning is not only restricted to land. While 99.999% of hoons who get fined for hooning committed their offences on land, it's also possible to hoon on water. And you know what else could go on water? That's right, Jesus Christ. While the AU Falcon may be the best vehicle for on-land hooning, when it comes to hooning on water, nothing beats the jet ski. Thanks to the low amount of water police and lack of speed limits on the water, you can speed, hit mad jumps, do tip-ins and 180s, and most of the time, it's perfectly legal. On a jet ski, you can hit a jump at 120 k's an hour on public waters and you won't even cop a fine. Whereas if I hit a mad jump at 120 k's an hour on public roads in my AU Falcon, I'd probably spend the next 10 years in jail. But anyway, that's enough about water hooning. Now we're going to talk about when is the best time to do it. There are many different factors that determine whether it's a good time to go hooning. The golden time for hooning is between 10 PM and 4 AM. During this time window, there are often less cars on the road, which means more room to play. But another more important factor is the weather. Now, I mentioned before that 90% of hoons are P-platers, and due to power restrictions, sometimes it's hard to spin the wheels. This is when liquid horsepower comes into play. Liquid horsepower, also known by some people as rain, is a very useful tool when it comes to hooning. Things such as turbos and superchargers can cost a lot of money, but rain is free and it almost doubles your horsepower. If you pair liquid horsepower with a welded diff, you can turn the industrial state into a Formula Drift event. As I mentioned before, hooning is a very inclusive sport, and unlike some motorsports like Macca's runs, everyone enjoys it. You see, with Macca's runs, some people don't like Macca's, but everyone loves hooning. You may be thinking, how can everyone love hooning if it's illegal? It's a well-known fact that police love hooning, because every time they catch someone, it's payday, and if they're lucky, they even get to take your car back to the impound lot where they can practice their burnouts. Another group that you might think don't like hooning are the elderly. 99% of the time, when someone calls the cops on you for hooning, it's some old fart. But the only reason they do this is because they're salty. You see, back in the day, these old farts used to drive around in cars such as the A9X Tirana, the HQ Monaro, the XY GT, and VL and VK Commodores, just to name a few. And what do you think these guys used to do with those cars? You guessed it, rip mad skids and wrap them around poles. But now when they open up car sales and see these same cars going for 100 times what they paid for them back in the day, they sit back and think to themselves, I shouldn't have fucking sold it. So whenever they hear tyres squealing and the rumble of a 5-litre VT Commodore, they get straight on the phone to 000 to try and spread that misery. Another group of people who absolutely love hooning are the news. TV shows such as Channel 7 News, Channel 9 News, and my personal favourite, A Current Affair, rely on hooning to pay the bills. Now for this bit, we'll focus on my celebrity crush, Tracy Grimshaw. It's no secret that Tracy loves a good skid, and whenever someone's got a shitty video of someone going sideways around a roundabout in an AU Falcon, you can count on Tracy to cover the story. If you go on Google or YouTube and search in A Current Affair hooning, you'll see that there are millions of stories on this topic. So Tracy, if you're out there watching and you want to go for a rip in the AU Falcon, hit me up and I'll show you why it's called the 4-litre tyre eater. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment and share if you'd like to hear more teachings from the genius himself. You're a cunt.